My fiancé's ex-boyfriend tried to ruin our wedding, but my future father-in-law had other plans. My fiancée, Sarah, and I had been together for 3 blissful years, and our wedding was just around the corner. We were both incredibly excited, despite the usual pre-wedding jitters. Sarah was the most wonderful woman I had ever met, kind, intelligent, beautiful, and possessing a laugh that could brighten even the darkest days. We had built a life together, a comfortable rhythm of shared dreams, inside jokes, and unwavering support. Our families adored each other, and everything seemed to be falling perfectly into place. However, there was one persistent shadow that occasionally loomed over our otherwise perfect relationship: Sarah's ex-boyfriend, Mark. Mark and Sarah had dated for about 5 years in college and a little after, and their relationship had ended on bad terms, largely due to Mark's controlling nature and frequent emotional manipulation. Sarah had truly struggled to break free from him, and even after they finally split, Mark made various attempts to win her back, ranging from grand romantic gestures to desperate pleas. Sarah, to her credit, had always maintained firm boundaries, but Mark's persistence was unsettling. He would occasionally send her lengthy emails, call her late at night from unknown numbers, and even once showed up at her apartment building with flowers, only to be turned away by Sarah and, eventually, a stern warning from her father. My future father-in-law, Richard, was a man of few words but immense presence. A retired police detective, he possessed a calm demeanor that belied a sharp mind and an unwavering protective instinct for his family, especially Sarah, his only daughter. He had witnessed firsthand the toll Mark's behavior had taken on Sarah during and after their relationship, and he held a quiet but firm dislike for the man. Richard had been the one to finally get Mark to back off initially, with a polite but very clear conversation that left no room for misinterpretation. We all thought that was the end of it, or at least, the worst of it. As our wedding day drew closer, Sarah and I were finalizing the last details. The guest list was set, the catering confirmed, and my suit and her dress were ready. It was a beautiful spring day, just a week before the wedding, when Sarah received an anonymous package in the mail. Inside was a large, glossy photo album. At first, she thought it might be a gift from a well-meaning relative, but as she opened it, her face fell. The album was filled with old photos of her and Mark, mostly from their college days, pictures of them laughing, hugging, kissing, and even some rather intimate ones from vacations they had taken together. Some were sweet and innocent. Others were clearly meant to evoke a sense of shared history and intimacy. Interspersed with the photos were printed out screenshots of old text messages and emails, some seemingly innocent, others heavily edited or taken out of context to make it appear as though Sarah was still in contact with Mark or held lingering feelings for him. There was no sender address, no note, just the album. Sarah was understandably shaken. She immediately knew it was Mark. No one else would have these specific photos or texts. The implication was clear. He was trying to sow doubt, to disrupt our happiness. I tried to reassure her, telling her it was a desperate, pathetic attempt, and that we wouldn't let it bother us. But the insidious nature of it, the way it was designed to create suspicion, was hard to ignore completely. We decided to tell Richard. He listened intently, his expression unreadable, as Sarah tearfully explained what she had received. He calmly took the album, flipped through it, and then set it aside. "He's trying to get a reaction," Richard said, his voice low. "Don't give him one. We'll handle this." Later that evening, after Sarah had gone to bed, exhausted and emotionally drained, Richard called me into his study. "I want to make sure this doesn't escalate," he stated, his gaze fixed on me. "This wedding means everything to Sarah, and to all of us. I won't let anyone ruin it." He then pulled out a manila folder from his desk drawer. "I've been keeping tabs on Mark, discreetly, ever since he started bothering Sarah again a few months ago. He's been posting some rather unhinged things on obscure forums, making threats, and even trying to contact Sarah's friends to warn them about me." Richard showed me some printouts of forum posts, filled with vitriol and delusion, where Mark portrayed himself as the wrong party and Sarah as a manipulative betrayer, and even mentioned me in thinly veiled terms. It was clear Mark's obsession had only intensified over the years. He also got fired from his last job for harassment, apparently involving a female co-worker. The man has a pattern. I felt a surge of anger and protectiveness. "What do we do, Richard? I don't want him anywhere near the wedding." Richard nodded slowly. "Precisely. But a restraining order takes time, and is clever enough to stay just within the legal lines for now. What we need is a more direct approach." He leaned back in his chair. "I have a friend, a private investigator. He owes me a few favors. We'll have him persuade Mark to take a very long vacation, far away from here, until after the wedding. I was initially taken aback. Persuade? Richard simply looked at me, a hint of his former detective self in his eyes. Let's just say my friend is very good at making people see reason. Mark won't be harmed, but he will understand, unequivocally, that any further interference will have consequences he absolutely won't enjoy, and he will be very far away. I trusted Richard implicitly, and honestly, the thought of Mark being forcibly removed from our vicinity filled me with a quiet sense of relief. I just wanted Sarah to have the wedding she deserved, free from any lurking shadows. The next few days were tense. Sarah was still rattled by the photo album, but we tried to focus on the positive aspects of the wedding. Richard remained calm, making a few phone calls and giving me updates in cryptic, reassuring phrases like, "The situation is being managed," or "Our friend is quite resourceful." 2 days before the wedding, something truly bizarre happened. Sarah received another package, this time a small, nondescript box. Inside was a single, dead, black rose. No note, just the rose. It was a clear, chilling message. Sarah immediately broke down, convinced Mark was spiraling and that our wedding was going to be ruined. She was terrified he would show up and cause a scene, or worse, that I was furious. This went beyond just being annoying. It was a clear escalation of harassment and a direct threat to Sarah's emotional well-being. I called Richard, my voice tight with anger. He listened, his silence heavy, and then said, "Stay calm. I'm on it. He won't be an issue, I promise you." Later that evening, Richard called me again. His voice was calm, almost serene. Our mutual friend has had a very productive conversation with Mark. Mark has decided to take an impromptu, long-term trip to a remote fishing village in Patagonia. He's very keen on experiencing the local culture and will be completely unreachable for the foreseeable future. He's even turned off his phone and closed all his social media accounts to fully immerse himself in the experience. I wasn't entirely sure whether to laugh or be relieved. Patagonia? Seriously? Indeed, Richard replied, a slight hint of amusement in his tone. Apparently, he developed a sudden, overwhelming passion for fly fishing in extreme isolation. He won't be bothering anyone for a very long time. I didn't ask for details, and Richard didn't offer any. I knew enough to understand that Richard's friend had done an incredibly thorough job. Mark was gone, and by the sound of it, he had been convinced to stay gone. The relief that washed over me was immense. I couldn't wait to tell Sarah. The next day, Sarah was still apprehensive, but I told her Richard had taken care of everything, that Mark wouldn't be an issue. She looked at me, her eyes searching mine, and then a slow smile spread across her face. She trusted her father implicitly, and if he said it was handled, it was. Our wedding day arrived, beautiful and bright. Sarah looked absolutely stunning in her dress, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. The ceremony was perfect, filled with love, laughter, and the warmth of our family and friends. Not a single hitch. No unexpected guests. No drama. Just pure, unadulterated joy. During the reception, as we were mingling with guests, Richard pulled me aside. He had a slight, knowing smile on his face. "You know," he began, "our friend mentioned something interesting about Mark's sudden trip. Apparently, Mark's travel agent booked him a one-way ticket, and his credit cards were mysteriously frozen just before he departed. He's going to have a truly immersive experience in that fishing village. No way to easily leave." I couldn't help but grin. Sounds like he'll be enjoying the local fish for a good long while. Richard chuckled. Precisely. And he won't be sending any more dead roses, or photo albums, or anything, for that matter. The rest of the wedding was a blur of happiness. Sarah and I danced until our feet hurt, celebrated with everyone we loved, and started our new life together surrounded by joy and peace. The shadow of Mark had been completely dispelled, thanks to Richard's unwavering dedication and unique brand of problem-solving. It was a stark reminder of the lengths a father would go to protect his daughter's happiness. I was not only marrying the woman of my dreams, but also gaining a father-in-law who, I realized, was a true force of nature. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that with Richard in our corner, we would be safe and secure from any future Patagonian enthusiasts who dared to disrupt our tranquil existence. We went on our honeymoon to Italy, enjoying every moment, completely free from any anxiety or fear. Sarah truly blossomed, her natural effervescence returning in full force now that the dark cloud of Mark's obsession had finally been lifted. She would occasionally joke about Mark's fishing trip, a subtle acknowledgement of the unusual way the situation had been resolved, but it was always with a lightheartedness that showed she truly believed he was out of our lives for good. Life since the wedding has been wonderful. Sarah and I are thriving, building our future, and cherishing every moment. Richard remains a pillar of strength and a source of quiet wisdom. We still don't talk about the specifics of Mark's sudden relocation, but there's an unspoken understanding, a shared acknowledgement of the decisive action taken. I sometimes wonder what Mark is doing in that remote fishing village, if he's truly found a passion for fly fishing, or if he's just spending his days contemplating the choices that led him to such an isolated existence. But those thoughts are fleeting, quickly replaced by the sheer joy of our life together. The incident with Mark, while stressful at the time, ultimately served to strengthen our bond, reminding us that we had each other and an incredibly protective family to weather any storm. And for that, I am eternally grateful.